We are not ready. Right now, let's see if we are ready. We already missed the start. Is there a late join? I guess not. There's no late join. Alright, guys. Welcome to Recon ride for the Zwift ZRL Stage 4 Jarvis Seaside. Or Jarvis Seaside. What we call it? Jarvis Seaside Sprint. So, I will point something out here, and hopefully they will all work out in your favor. Alright? As we're doing a gentle here we go. A gentle lead-in. We are in the process of doing that alone. There's already a recon group ahead of us. I think it's 3 minutes ahead of us, head start. We will not catch them, but there will be some pointers on the screen coming from the other ride leader, which is okay. But I want you to be aware that this ride-on or this recon is very informative. So, as we are going out on this recon and in the lead-in, we will head out of Watopia downtown into a little ramp, which may or may not will surprise the C or D guys, as it could stretch here quite a bit. And that could be already the end of the race for you. So be ready for that first surge here. Tire out the first sprinters. Gas yourself out. So that could be quite exhausting going into that first sprint. Just hanging on here, okay? I will not do any sprints, but I will show you what will be like. Maybe we're gonna go with Rollins from the team NRCC, who is just 17 seconds ahead of me. But yes, so there will be a draft van, an aero power up given going out of Jarvis, but you have the opportunity to catch a ghost going into the sprint. I'm not entirely sure if they give you one right out the gate here, but if so, position yourself well on these sections, as we will have a lot of movement. People get nervous to misplace themselves in the sprint, which is coming up probably in a minute from now. So, but on this section, on these rollers, line yourself up. Don't be in the front, don't be in the back. What you want to do is a crucial element of getting this ramp right. Okay, first approach, speeding into this ramp here is essential to be in the mix, okay? But however, You do not want to hit the wind. You don't want to be first in any regards. A good approach would be sprint in, sit up a little, right as you cross over, and then gauge how many people are coming by. I would recommend be at 10th wheel. This will give you a solid draft. So, and you want to start your sprint early in that sense. On this downhill, if you have a draft, it's not a place to activate it in that corner, which has a little bit of a slingshot effect. Go in here with full gas. Try to make up as many places as possible. Yes, it's going to be the first sprint. It's going to be the fastest segment in total. All right. And that will be it. From now on, your duty is to catch your breath if you have sprinted for big points, and catch on to the drafts on the wheels. Catch the wheels here. All right. Relax as much as you can, okay? Relax as much as you can. You have been rewarded a draft man, which is in our weapon arsenal now. And based on how quick the group went out here, you may or may not will see the pack string out. So don't be caught on the right side of the gap. All right. If you really have to, punch it until the lights go out. So it is important to focus on recovery here, as your legs and lungs are going to be gassed out. And that's just to show off. You're competing against the biggest pack for that last sprint, and that's like the second biggest pack for the next sprint. And the next sprint, I have to mention something. So it is important to recognize, thanks Darren, yeah, I'm in last position, or almost to last. It is important to not blow your matches on the next sprint. And in general, for C and D, you're gonna have that sprint twice, and for the A and Bs, 3 times. 3 times the risk of being blown up. I cannot stress it enough. So because the segments which are coming now going into the Jarvis little loop-de-loop are kind of tricky, hard to gauge, and if your team is able to split up riders in like 1, 2, and 3 for the first round or the first part of the race, and then rider 4, 5, and 6 to hang on for dear life and sprint for the later rounds like lap 2 and lap 3, that's doable because it's a team effort. You do not have to score every time, and I would highly recommend not doing so. So, and this sprint, I cannot say it enough, is going to be critical for your race moving forward. because the last sprint was epic. Big sprinters, big field, huge tempo. And this one will be more strategic, and you have to. The back-to-back segments can really rip you apart. So what do you want to do? And you're just gonna start right here. You line it up right there. You have a draft band, and you wanna use that draft band when you're in the draft. If you're speeding up and you're hitting the wind, you have that draft band activated. It's a waste. So the best sprinter obviously has the nose right in front. Everyone else right above the finish line or that banner. So you want to wrap it up here. You want to really like engage with the team or with yourself. Probably around here. You see the marker was already on the right hand side coming here on the traffic light, the green one. It's going to be a 40-second draft band. So I'm not pushing it right now, but you want to be ready for it. And again, there are two tactics. One right now is going for this sprint and hopefully survive the next one. All right. So boom, you threw it, and you may or may not have a little bit draft band left to keep momentum. As the second segment, the calm, which is for me probably a group separator. I don't know if you have seen in race 2, stage 2, you sprinted and it probably took you at least a minute to come back into the front group, relax, just because you did not sprint it like full gas. So the people here on this sprint will start slowing down a little because you have a 2% incline here, and it will get more. But what you don't realize is if you sprinted that sprint, you're gonna be gassed out. The legs are hurting. So, and you need to push here. This is where the segment already gets really hot. I can see people like myself front loading it as this little ramp here going up to the plateau right there is essential, and some people might use the feather right here. %. It is draftable as you come up here with speed and in bigger pack. If you're alone like me, not so much. So if you have that first ramp behind you, again, gauge again where you are. People will be so much in the hurt box here already. Doesn't matter which lap. So surfing wheels here is important, especially on this part. 2% will feel a little bit like a forward flat surfing behind wheels. So get yourself in a good position and wind it up, like basically right here. When you see that fence here, wind it up and get on it, as you want to hit this with speed, this ramp. Yes, the feather will come very handy here. So having the feather still accessible will give you that extra boost and maybe advantage to make up some places, because the first ramp is just positioning. What's coming next is mean from ZRL. It's a burrito. Boy, this will put people even more in the hurt box. As me, try and look for air left and right, you're not losing the draft too. Depends how much right or how many riders are around you. I can see it's really thinning out here, and if you have a group of 20 people up here and they're all popping their burritos at the beginning of the segment, all latest probably here, because you want to be aware that people start pushing over that crust with speed to separate each other from the big peloton. It is now or never on each lap where this segment will separate people. I highly recommend pushing over here as hard as you can, accordingly to the group you are in. So if people are not pushing in your group, don't worry, stay in your group. But if you want to make the race and you want to stretch it, that's the time to do it. All right, because in the next like 1.5 to 2 minutes, all downhill, you have time to recover. And the people in the back have time to snowball through. That will be the point where the people who just made it on will still keep pushing down this slope here to make it into the group, and they will snowball you down. So if you put the effort in first, you can already easy paddle. Just catch the wheels and you're gonna be fine on this one. Again, some people might have still a burrito and they will fire it up here because they don't want you to catch. It's brutal, it's hard, it's miserable. I hate the burrito, but in racing, yes, it is what it is. It is Zwift. It is a power up which gamifies the game, and it's great, in my opinion, to have such a thing. The burrito in particular, not so much, but because it really affects other people. The other power-ups will only affect you in certain ways. Here we go, we have Verone with us. He managed to bridge back on, and he's probably happy to ride with us the last second lap. So this one here is not a segment. This is just a downhill with a banner where you will get rewarded a power up. And I think, is it a draft or an arrow? It is an arrow, okay. So here it is, for this particular power up, it is important to notice that we're going now into the volcano, where there's a ramp in between now and the next banner. Yes, this arrow will help going up that little ramp with speed and may or may not separate you from the group you are in, if you want that. So this race is a breakaway race completely for me. It's just a matter of time until somebody is not able to close the gap, because people will gas out. They will gas out. And it's up to you if you want that to happen and on which side of the gap you are on. So we will like hit in 1 minute the ramp up into the volcano, which in some races is the more intense part. This intense part is part of this race, so do not underestimate it, meaning don't pedal easy. This will be a given extra sprint you need to do in order to stay in your group or stay on or in contention. All right, so if you want to hurt people, speed up into this corner here because it pitches up as we go in. All right, so have a little bit of a plan here, and you want to put on the pressure. If you're not attacking, at least put on the pressure on the pedal so you're ready for what is coming, because some people will push here. That's my plan. You never know how I feel at this point. For people who drop out or have trouble, they will have the power up to help them out, and I would recommend it to use it. Sorry about that. So, and because I want to show you what every spanner power up is, I'm gonna activate it, and what I will do it in a smarter way, because in the volcano, that little S ramp here is another pushing point. You think you can recover? You think wrong. There's another like little separator, and that will hurt more and more as the group gets smaller and smaller. All right. If you want to put people in the hurt box, push over the spanner here, but activate your power up, your arrow, before you're crossing the banner. This will give you, on the downhill right now, an arrow advantage, and have the other guys again chasing. So don't underestimate these sections. You think the segments are the key point? Something like this could make a difference in the race, especially on lap 3. People are tired, and maybe on lap 3, because people look around and say, okay, no, you follow, I follow. No, let's let him go, or I don't know. So there's confusion in the pack. At this point, if you fire up your arrow and go ahead, hurt them before they hurt you. That's the plan here. That's the name of the game. So if you are able to pull at least 5-6 guys with you, which would be ideal, every lap will be different, but at the end depends on the field. If you're starting with 80 people, you might coming to this point here on lap 3 or lap 2 with 20. Okay, if you're starting with 50, you better show up with 10 here, otherwise the mass sprint is guaranteed. So I feel people will crumble more and more and more for this recon. This one here I would consider recovery. Okay, after coming out of the volcano, depends which lap you're in, and if you're pushing or not, you will be in recovery phase. So Next push is coming up. If you're in a bigger group, you have nothing to worry about. Just surf the wheels and you're gonna be fine. Just don't get to the end of the group. Then you might have to burn a match to make it back on. Because these valley asses could make you lose the draft a little. You cannot make it up with steering. No steering is activated. Be aware of that. So no cutting corners here. So coming to this second lap and coming to the JWS sprint or Java sprint there down the bridge, which will be your final sprint. Two approaches, because now you have two people in the pack. The sneaky one, the ghost, that's me. And the person who hold on to the arrow, the smarter one. So in regards to the arrow, you want to push in that right hand corner, going up with the crowd and chasing wheels, probably in like 5th position or something at this point. Depends on group size. And then launching it on the descent halfway. That will guarantee that arrow goes all the way to the banner, and you have most advantage of it coming through that corner and slingshotting through. If you have a ghost like this guy here, you want to fire it early. 400 meters before the sprint, no ghost is active anymore, so be ready for that. Look on the meters. So I would probably fire it now to get a head start of everybody going up here. All right. And he will like, what the hell? There you go. You should not be in the position where you come over one guy here at the top. Because that's the point where people really increasing the speed as well as dropping their arrows right here and now. So for the ghost people, it's going to be a longer sprint, an early sprint. You have to go early if you want to take advantage of that power up, as it deactivates 400 meters before that is over. I will show you where the 400 meter mark is at the next lap, okay? We are now in lap number 2 for all categories A, B, C, and D. I always say FDS points now what is it called? I always gonna mix them up. First over the line is 80% in points. It's more important than being fastest through segments. FDS points, they're extra, they're icing. If you have it, great, but pay attention to your position in the pack. If there are 50 riders in the pack, first guy gets 50, second 49, third 48. I cannot stress it enough. It doesn't matter which position you're sprinting for. If you're in a 50 pack and you're sprinting for 20 points, that's our 20 points. That are 20 points. If you leave it on the table and 3 or 4 people come by, maybe that's 17 points. That's 3 points less. Every point counts. I know you will have good riders in your team, which may or may not score higher. But then you will have the odd guy in your team who has a bad day, okay? And he or she will not can hang. For example, going through that sprint here, yes, you're blasting through it the second lap, but you cannot hold because people are still pushing down that crest here. So there's never a dry moment, I tell you that. I think there are a couple, okay? Let's go through them. Going lead in, first sprint, going down the S's. I think the first real recovery moment is coming after this bridge. This is where you want to like collect yourself and make yourself aware, yeah, another sprint's coming up, but this one, you need to be smart about it, like in the first lap. If you want to stay in contention, that's all good. Then you need to be racing smart. Don't overdo it on the sprint, okay? I'm gonna like go behind Hutchinson in 65 to get a draft here. Here we go. So this will be recovery. This will feel probably like a minute or two breathing in the pack. Very important. Do that. Have as much rest as possible here on that. Pan flat, nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about on this bridge here in lap 1 and 2. As people will not risk to exhaust themselves here to get punished in the sprint or get double punished on the climb. So don't even dare. So all good. I'm going to stay behind Hudson here. My steering is not. Is my steering active actually? I don't even know. Oh, no steering active. Okay, even the RECON, no steering activated. Okay. Fair enough. Shouldn't be. Very much race scenario. So, yes, we're coming closer to the sprint now. We are 700 meters out from the sprint segment. All right. Again, depends on the group you are in. You want to position yourself accordingly. Don't be the guy who leads everybody out. Wait as much as you can. I will try to gauge the draft man here. We are 250 meters out now. So I will fire it up now at the red house here. Boom. All right. $250 watts, 3 Oh, you're probably going way faster on this segment. We're going 35 clicks. This will be probably like a 55-kilometer sprint at least. So Finding a drafting, waiting with a draft van could be a benefit, as this draft van will support you in your recovery over this bridge part here. It's just a matter of like how long can you wait to not drop too much in the group, because yeah, you want to snack some points, but don't overdo it. So if you still have some draft van left passing the banner, perfect, use it, pedal easy or pedal accordingly so you can catch some wheels and get back on, as the front guys in this pack and sprint will be gassed out-ish in lap 2. So everything what comes next and you didn't sprint like full gas will be benefit to you, and you will hold the cards this time. I will do a little bit of a push here. See, on this one climb here, boom, activate on the last right carton. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, using this the feather on this ramp here, in my opinion, is not ideal, as the ramp is too short to take full advantage of the feather. You see now it goes even downhill, and you probably have the feather still activated. So I highly recommend on keeping the feather for the second part of this ramp. So we have blown the feather now. We are now in the hurt box. The people who sprinted, they might pop the feather in the first ramp because they have FOMO not making it back on. But this is actually where you really hurt them. Yes, on this plateau here between the ramps, it's a little bit recovery time in my opinion, just a little bit, but not much, and that depends on lap and lap. So you do not have to stay on the gas the whole time, ramp to ramp. Again, the brutal thing is you get a burrito here. Boy, you will find out if people hate you in this race or if they want to ride with you in this race based on this power up right here and now. They activate it here, they hate you. They don't want you to ride with them. They want to stick in your face as soon as they get it. Oh boy. So everything here is more strategic, but based on the group dynamics here and where you are, I would say lap 2 or lap 3 coming over this bridge is where you want to deploy that burrito, because there will be no pack here. in the last lap. There will be strength out people who want to make that descent as quick as possible, and they want nobody around them, or like only a few. So they will try to split up these groups with the burritos. So expect the burritos to be deployed right here on this bridge, or at the end, where you think, oh my God, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna catch the draft. And then that last sneaky guy says, see you later. See you later, buddy. See you later, buddy. This is what's up. As you're coming over here, you want to push over, and if you're passing this lamp here, you should be at a good speed where you can take off a little bit of pressure. All right, as a lot of people from the back will come racing through with higher speed, and you just like attach to their draft. Just be aware that they may have still a burrito with them, and they tease you a little bit. When they come by and they're fired up, I mean, it's a lot of speed here. You should carry a lot of speed. The draft, taking a draft away with a burrito will be just shorten your recovery time, because the other guy has the same level of resistance if he's in front of you. If he's in the wind, he's getting the burrito feeder all the time. If you're behind him, you have more recovery, you can relax. So with the burrito, he's just shorten your recovery time. He's on the burrito all the time, if you see it like that. So don't worry, if you're in the pack, they throwing burritos on a downhill, I think it's a little bit wasted. It may stretch out the field a little bit, but as soon as like it's gone, it just trickles back in. Will people keep the burrito beyond this banner? Could be. That would be very sneaky, actually, if you do so. If you keep the burrito for the end, maybe not a bad choice. However, the end it's such a fast finish that people coming with so high speed from the back that a draft, taking away the draft will not make a big difference. So I would recommend deploying the burrito before this banner and taking an arrow, because the arrow will be more valuable to you, because it really affects you, not the other people. It affects you. It gives you an advantage, not the other people. So you are in control. I would definitely go with an arrow and get rid of the burrito before crossing that banner. So coming down here is all recovery here. It's all recovery. Like I said, after the Italian village, the S's, recovery on the Volcano Road, going out over the Benyan Cafe and coming down the descent, recovery. There may be a little bit of a push. People may come from behind and try to push on a descent if the heavy guy's in there. Maybe you pay attention to that. Other than that, should be recovery. This is all recovery, but as soon as we turn this corner here, it's game on. It's game on. And it's up to you and the people who you race with how mean they are to you or to the groove. Okay? For me, this will be an automatically power push here. Big surge, again, coming from the back of the group and pushing hard. Yeah, pushing hard in a way of getting out of the saddle. 4 or 5 watts per kilo at least. "26 clicks we go in right now. Firing an arrow, maybe not a bad choice here to extend the gum, the stretch on the peloton. People may give up here. If you have done that and you have the strength of pushing over this hump here as well, there will be some chain reaction, meaning it's going to be stretched here for sure. Boom again. Another plan is having arrow right before this banner and accelerating here. But I feel most of the people may be already back on, and you might pushing yourself just out in the front with that move. Again, depends on race situation. So be smart about it. Firing up your ghosts here and trying to make a push, not a good idea. Again, depends on group size. Normally the speed is high, the group is together in most races here, if it's not already stretched out. But the group will be together. This will be actually recovery before the final push, which happens after the glass pipe over there going over. So we are 2.6 kilometers out before the final sprint. What I want you to consider here at this point is your cadence you put on the pedals. Your legs are going to be fatigued, so if you do try have a slider higher cadence in the draft, that will benefit you because you don't have to push that much power, but you have to push it more often. However, your muscle fiber is reacting better, and your lactate, depends on where you are in terms of your measurements, will be able to come down a little. Not that it like will be built up or come down. It's just not preventing it from going higher. All right. So spin the legs here in every recovery. Spin the legs. Because most of the time, yeah, you're sprinting or you're pushing big watts, big gears. I would try to avoid that. But then a little bit depends on your riding style, okay? So coming out of this tunnel here, last lap 2 was C and D, lap A and B is lap 3. I could see people coming from the back and ghosting here and trying to accelerate as quick as possible. We are 2K out here, That's all doable. You can do that by yourself, because now the pack will look around and say, okay, who's going to stitch it? Who's going to go after this guy? That moment alone, you got him. So if you have activated your ghost coming out of this, I could see that playing out in your favor. So, or it plays out in a way that you will have an advantage of being there up front already. And it puts you probably in the top 10, top 20 in your pack. All right. See if you can stay with Farron. So what you want to pay attention to is the last option where you can deploy the ghost. The ghost will be eliminated 400 meters before the finish. We are right now at 850. So let's see how this works. I will maybe try to draft in there. See if the ghost will be cut short. Okay, here we go. Ghost activated right in the corner. And this guy is going ghosting too. Okay. So you will be visible before here. And that's it. That's good to know. So the ghost is very much a sneaky attack. Too much farther out. But now you have it. So activate the ghost before you go into that dip. And you're going to be fine. No matter what. You don't have to pay attention to the 400 meter mark. The 400 meter mark is right when you're crossing that hill. Here we go. And that is RECON stage number 4. Again, race smart. Don't use the power-ups as they come along. Use them wisely. Gauge your efforts in the sprints, especially on the second one, the Jarvis one. So I wish you good luck, and I see you on Tuesday in the race for points. All right, guys, have a good weekend. Bye-bye.